so I hope to kind of continue that work in some sense, and also expanding into all the other things that Trinidad needs, housing, economic development, and different things. My background, this is sort of a second career for me. My first career was in teaching, so I taught English in Japan for a year, and then I taught history in Santa Fe for about 6 years. My undergraduate degree was in history and German, and then I did a master's in philosophy and literature, and then I did another master's in planning. And I'm really excited to be here. Trinidad is a place, my experience so far has been, I've stopped here a dozen times when I'm passing through this part of the state, and I've always thought, wow, what a cute town. And maybe this might be a cool place to live, and just the twist of fate was such that I wound up moving up here this weekend. So I'm really excited to get to know the community, and just walking around over the last few days, I've just seen there's so much going on. There's so much development and projects that I can just see on the street. So I'm really excited to be a part of that and to help Trinidad grow. And I want to commend you, Mayor, for having a retreat like this. The school I used to teach at, we were a brand new school when I started, and we would go out every year for about 3 days and just isolate ourselves in this little mountain town, Truchas, in Mexico, and we'd have a retreat. We'd go through what's working, what's not working. And every year, it was probably a little bit frustrating for the kids because we just do things totally differently. But we were always an A school. We were always rated with an A rating, and I think we did a really good job. And the retreats were one of these things we didn't really want to do in the moment, but it really did make us a good organization. And so I think this is a good idea. I look forward to being part of it and getting to learn from you guys about the priorities here in the city.
Welcome.
So, Mike, if you start talking in German, you're always upset.
That's right. Yeah,
You
really.
can tell, for an interview, history, literature,
Yeah.
philosophy, teacher, planner, gotta have it.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Welcome. Okay,
So, in your packet, there's a spreadsheet. We tried to consolidate what all of the departments did to kind of give you just an overview. And so, since Mark's not here, I'll just kind of go off of what he provided. Provided a bunch of copies if you want to.
How much will you pay me not to bump the table? Please. Please. I'm trying not to.
So, well, I'm just passing those out. As you know, we have, we're an older town, aging infrastructure. You'll find that most of these 5-year plans are about refurbishing infrastructure. So, in Mark's handout, I'll just go through it. Upgrade the SCADA system. The SCADA system is something that does the telemetry for all the water tanks, the pumps, the treatment plant. They all talk to each other and keep the water flowing and levels up, and actually checks chlorine levels and residuals and everything. So it monitors all that. We have started that. Council approved that. That's year 1. Water filter meter replacement is completed already. Water line improvements on First, Chestnut, Walnut, and Convent are in progress. That contractor is complete.
Is that supposed to read 700,000, not $700?
It was a good contractor.
Yeah, I was going to say, hire him for some more work.
That's 700,000, correct. And it is a good contractor. They've been very respondent. They're on the job constantly, they work through the rain days, they do. I'll just add right here that since we tore up First Street on one side, and for the water, and the other side, while we're in there, that's an old section of gas main, we replaced that. Engineering is doing a project to refurbish all those bricks. When we took them all out, a lot of the concrete patches and everything, we don't have enough bricks to go back in, so we're looking at a design that puts concrete on the sides with the travel brick roadways. So, that's in progress. Maintenance on the water storage tanks. Again, they have never had any interior maintenance since installed. Exterior painting and everything, so divers go in, they make recommendations, and he's got that out to bid, actually with the engineering firm of Black & Beach. PVC pipe storage. We have PVC pipe that can't be out in the sunshine. We have no storage for it, so that's going on. Addition to the wastewater, the water treatment plant house is in progress. Monument Lake restrooms are done. And then it's to work on the 2-inch water line on Oak Street. In year 2, we have a water main that broke under the university tracks a couple years ago. He's been working through several train masters. One train master was going to tear up the tracks, let us open trench and put it in there. Then he retired, never did it. And now the new train master is saying no, so we're going to have to bore a new line under that track. It doesn't affect, well, it does affect the water system in circulation and connectivity, but we've got water on both sides of that, and it's shut off under the track. With that connection, it'll help with the distribution. The water line in Segundo, that's upriver, that's our main transmission line. It's not $100, it's $100,000.
Just deflated your pocket.
Oh, I'd already added the zero to that.
Contractor.
Right. Abandoning the water line in Weston. We have 2 transmission lines that go through Weston. One is they're both old. One was done in the 70s. The other one's been there a long time, and we just need to take that section out. That's the only section where there's still an old section of old and new. And then start to conduct a study on a supplemental water treatment plant. That's kind of in preliminary discussion already. That one's correct. $106,163.65.
Wow.
Would that be below the dam? Is that still a location you're looking at? Or?
So
I think that's.
I think it's okay to say what we're thinking. All we hear about is, water in the river. Can we have water in the river? During off-season irrigation, the river comes down to a trickle. So our thought is to build a treatment plant farther down river with a reservoir, and we can utilize our water rights that are in the dam, let it flow down to the reservoir, treat the water there, and then pump it back upstream and reuse it, double, triple use that water. And
What a freaking excellent idea. I mean, that is an amazing solution to many problems, recreation on the river and everything.
yeah, so for Sky's benefit, our current water treatment plant is 35 miles west, North Lake and Monument Lake. North is our primary water supply, and north is secondary. And then it's and That also includes the transmission line, the 106 million and change. I believe there's, in our packet, we can talk about that later. That is one that we asked for the congressional request that came out from Hickenlooper and Bennett, Senators Hickenlooper and Bennett. We put that in, and our engineer threw that together because it was like we had a week. So he aimed high. There's a lot of contingencies and you know, in that number. Anyway, year 3. Peak Street to Santa Fe Trail on Morris Canyon Road. That's a water line from basically the school down to Santa Fe Trail. That property in there has been looked at several times. We have no utilities in there, so ongoing is replace old infrastructure in the city system. That's continual as we come across old lines and galvanized lines we try to replace. Continue phase 2, which is up in the original town site, 1st through 4th, Oak through High. We've got some major lines in there now. The big line that went down 2nd Street last year, and now the 2 12-inch mains that came by the courthouse and down 1st. From there now we can branch out with the smaller lines and streets as money comes available. He's got replaced 2 trucks, and continue in year 4, continue replacing old infrastructure. Year 5, new water treatment plant. We'll see if we can move that aggressively and see what we can do. That estimate is on the back page of his handout. That's where you can see that pre-sediment basin, excavation, berm, liner, river diversion. Let's see, I'm looking for the treatment plant. Conventional water treatment plant, high service pump station, 8 million gallons a day at 450, that is 32 million. No, the pump station is 6 million. Distribution pipe from the wastewater treatment plant to the north reservoir, and then distribution pipe, south zone. Those are all related to the map that's in the back that have zones and the engineer that did this, Black and Beach, also did our study. It's outdated now. It's over, gosh, time flies. It's over 15 years old, if not 20. And that all these numbers are based on high growth scenarios. So we had Cougar Canyon, we had Eagle Rock, we had everything coming online when the study was done, and then of course bottom dropped out. So here we are again. So these numbers are probably pretty good. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
That new garage for the PVC pipe, that new garage, would that go into that area that we're considering purchasing?
No, that's it near the gas department. It's out by the water department, and that would be down behind the power plant. They have an area, and it's kind of it's not extensive. He's looking at pole barn, he's looking at metal building, just the storage.
And then that year or two that replaced that water line on University, you said that he had some problems with working, I guess, with the railroad on that? Is that right?
Somewhat. I mean, the new roadmaster has been very receptive. He's going to, he let us get in there. I don't know if you see the patch there. There was a void underneath, and the concrete was starting to break on the roadway, so there's...
If you have any real difficulties getting that through, let me know, because DJ Mitchell, who is Vice President of BNSF, he's on our Southwest Chief Amtrak Commission, and just like Peter Rickerhauser.
Right.
Might help us move some of that forward if necessary to get to that level.
Great.
Just let me know on that part of it. I just wanted to mention, I've been talking to Mike about a strategic plan, actually it goes back further than that, about getting a strategic plan together from each department, and this is really what we need, this type of information, so that we can, we can see what we're really faced with going forward. So, and we thank you, Mike, for having staff put these together for us.
You bet.
Any other questions?
So if we are thinking we're gonna build this water treatment plant, are we simultaneously going to be continuing to repair the lines from our current water treatment plant? Or is it kind of things we're thinking it'll just be obsolete at some point?
No, I don't think it'll ever be obsolete. We have a lot of customers up and down the river. I think it'll enhance that valley even more. We may be able to serve a few more people up there. So that, we're thinking adding a secondary line from that also. So we have redundancy coming down. Treatment down below is to supplement the water and utilize our water rights that are just in the dam. And we, every year we lose evaporation, we lose sedimentation. So when the sediment comes in and all these floods, they calculate that. And when they hit us, we're fighting. We're discussing with the state and the, there's Kansas, there's Army Corps, there's the Park Service, there's state, there's Bureau of Reclamation. They're all involved in this agreement for the dam as signatories. The city is not a signatory, Purgatory River Conservancy District. But we have our pool, and they usually calculate the sediment when everybody's water has been used, irrigators used it, the only water left is the city of Trinidad or parks, and we take the hit on the sediment. So as the sediment fills up, you figure out how many acre feet of water that is, and somebody has to take it out of their account. So it's generally the city and parks, and so we've been arguing hard that you need to calculate that up front so that everybody pays their fair share on sedimentation. So, but good question, though. I think redundancy is going to be good, and as we grow, we need the treatments of both plants.
Yeah, I consider our relative wealth in water to be one of the best things about Trinidad, and one of the things that would support further growth. Because water in the West is really precious, and it will continue to be.
Well, I'm not sure, I think the rest of council may know this, but right now I think we're treating enough water to do about a population of around 18,000.
That's what the study says,
That's
yes.
what the study says. So,
Yeah.
we're not ample water right now, but we do have the possibility of additional growth in Mississippi.
And it's always, you lose a little sleep at night when you only have one line coming down the hill. If something happens, and it did happen to us in '84, I believe.
Around that time.
Yeah.
So would we have enough water rights in the dam that should something happen at North Lake, Monument Lake, that we would be able to use our water rights and serve our community?
Yes. Yes. Depending, well, and that's how they designed, if you notice, they designed the plant for 8 million gallons a day. I would say if something happened, we'd ask community to conserve, definitely. Plus, this may be too far in the weeds, but it's two different water sources. So we got pristine water up at North Lake, beautiful mountain water and watershed. Not a lot of treatment needed. Just chlorination to keep it safe for drinking all the way down. Down here, Trinidad Dam has a lot of tributaries that come into it, different water, so it would have a different treatment process. Somehow we'd have to figure out how to mix them. As we have all our tanks, we would pump into the tanks, we'd have the treatment.
Good job, Mark.
How much water, if any, does the oil mine use?
They are hauling water for their bathhouse. That if they requested a water tap, but really it's only for the bathhouse and the miners. The water they use to do the mining is water rights off the river. We've sold them water rights in the past where they pull it right out of the stream and use it for mining purposes. They have purchased water from the Hill Ranch this year. So,
Didn't they used to rinse the coal? I thought
They still do.
they still
Okay.
do the water.
But you said they're only using it for the bathhouse.
And our potable water.
I gotcha, okay.
They use the
Okay,
water,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Never
No,
mind.
we wouldn't, that would not be a good thing,
Okay, right.
using our potable water.
Okay, I'm with you.
You got second, Mike?
Next up,
Steve.
Burrow. Wherever you want.
You got handouts too, or I mean, are we already like?
I have a hard time.
Don't
There's
come down.
You're gonna make us feel real bad.
They want to have them, we can copy them, if they'd like to have them.
If you'd like to have one, I got,
You may be able to follow along on your spreadsheet.
I think I have a couple things that have changed from that spreadsheet, but,
Good
if
morning,
anybody wants
Steve.
it, got that.
Morning, buddy.
You won't be able to follow along on your spreadsheet, sorry. We left you off, so
Okay,
you're on your own.
on my own. Good morning.
Morning, Steve.
Thanks for being here.
Sure, thank you. Here on my 5-year plan, I've started already in the year 2021. So what we've done, we've already completed a replacement of a 6-inch gas main on First Street. It was about a 900-foot replacement that we did. We went from Chestnut to Commercial Street, all the way down First. We replaced the main and a couple service lines that were on there. So that one's already been completed for 2021. We're in the process of rebuilding regulator stations. We have 5 that we're rebuilding. We budgeted that last year for this year's budget to purchase all the equipment. It's going to be actually a multi-year project. We're going to get 1 station done this year. Hopefully next year we'll be able to get 2 stations, the following year another 2 stations. All the equipment is going to be purchased this year for that. It was a total of about $110,000. So most of that's been ordered already. I think we got a few regulators that we're still trying to get ordered. We're having trouble ordering some stuff. And then we're trying to get some property. We're trying to, adjacent to the gas shop, we're trying to purchase that property. I went to council with that earlier. So that would be another thing that's on the 2021 budget to try to get that property. For 2022, we're going to continue to replace the gas line on First Street. We're going to go from Commercial to Convent. I believe they're doing the water right there now, and then next year I think we're trying to get the streets and sidewalks improvement there. So it's my intention to get that gas line redone there so we have good infrastructure under the street, get that gas line done right there. I'd also like to connect from Peak Street to Santa Fe Trail on Morris Canyon Road. Kind of create a loop. Right now I have a one-way feed, basically all the way from 2nd Street all the way south. So including Allendale, all of our motels up that way, I just got a one-way feed up that way. So the start of that would be connecting Peak Street to Santa Fe Trail, tying in that. That would kind of give me a little bit more play in between the radio station and that if something were to happen right there. The other one is connecting on Garfield Street. We'd go from Van Buren all the way up to Espinoza. That one I think is kind of grant dependent. We got to get the street widened, Garfield Street. Back in probably 1990, we removed a gas line that ran up Garfield. It ran up through the hillside. It followed the water line that went to the tanks up there. That was, I'm going to say 90 or 91, and we removed that gas line. It was a bare gas line. I had just started working here, so I understood it had a few leaks on it. Gas line is supposed to be coated, so I think that's why they removed it. It was never replaced. So that was our secondary feed to the south, was coming up Garfield. So I'd like to get that connected, but like I say, that one is going to depend on widening Garfield Street. I don't have the room to get a gas line up there right now.
It'll have some lights.
So we can
And then we
see
can
that.
get the- Oh, is that what you were laughing about? Yeah. We're gonna get it.
The line's been on over there.
So,
We've got our own little thing going.
I know you do.
yeah, I'll jump on the bandwagon on that and get a gas line up there if we can get the lights up there. And then the fourth one, we have a four-way cross where 4-inch gas lines are meeting. We dug it up a couple years ago. We had some problems right there, and we discovered that there's dresser couplings on that. So that's on the project for next year to try to get rid of those. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge. We got to do some bypassing on the gas to get that done.
Is that in that Garfield area?
That's on Hayes, in between Hayes. Let's see. Yeah, that's on Van Buren between Garfield and Hayes. So that's kind of in that same area. So when we dug that up, it just didn't look like it was suitable to keep in the ground for too much longer. We repaired a leak on it. Like I say, there's dresser couplings. I don't know if anybody's familiar with dresser coupling. It's a coupler that goes on and it connects two pieces of pipe. They're not physically welded together or anything like that. The Utility Commission is kind of looking down on dresser couplings now. There have been some accidents with it, so I'd like to get those out of the ground. But that's plans for next year. That's in our 2022 budget. So then I move on to 2023. And this one, we kind of applied for a grant, I think. It was in that, for an acquisition of a new natural gas gate station. That's where we're getting gas fed into our system. Where we purchase and the gas takes over we purchase our gas from CIG. And then right now we have one, which is down on Highway 350 by the movie picture show house. The reason I want to get another one is we have added some CNG gas stations, compressed natural gas, one at UPS and one at the JR station on Goddard. And then we have a asphalt plant out at Industrial Park. And when those three things go on at one time, we're losing pressure at Industrial Park. So we're getting limited on what we could build out at Industrial Park. Our pressure drops quite a bit. Naturally, all three have to go on at one time. It's happened a couple times during the time that those three things have been up. So I'd like to get one station on the north side of town. We've been in talks with Walsenburg to tap onto their gas line. I started those talks up again. That was about 5 years ago, something. We got into serious talks with them, and then we had some problems with easements, and then it kind of died down at that point. I've contacted Walsenburg back again. Their city managers have changed and stuff, so we basically got to go back from the scratch to see if they're willing to let us do that.
So the problem that you're having with the easements, are they Los Angeles County or where from the county or what?
Los Angeles County. It's only about a mile, where we were planning on tapping is about a mile north of our industrial park.
It's
a little bit-
Started discussing that.
Yeah, it's a little bit northeast of industrial park. I think we had measured about a mile long, so it's not too drastic. We have some bare line up on the Nona Alley. We got about 400 feet of bare steel pipe, so that would be another one of my projects. I'd like to get that pipeline removed and replaced. So that's in 2023. Cathodic protection grids, that's something that I'd like to add about 4 more grids. And it'll be a little pricey to do that. Right now we're doing okay with them. There are 4 of them that are a little large, so I'd like to cut those down a little bit, size them up so they're more manageable. And then that would be it in 2023. 2024, we have an old gate station. I don't know, it's out at the power plant. A lot of above ground piping that's old. That needs to have some attention done to that. We need to get that piping reconfigured, get what we can back underground. That used to be the old transfer point from CIG to the city, was right there at the power plant. And I don't know what year that happened, where they moved that out towards the movie picture show house. And we inherited the line coming from that point to our old gate station right there at the power plant. So behind the power plant, there's a lot of above ground piping, there's old gaskets, stuff like that. They have small leaks on there, basically grade 3 leaks, where we just gotta keep an eye on them and watch them. We don't have to really repair those leaks unless they get worse and they get up into a grade 2. So that's something that needs to be attended to and dealt with. Construction of a pipe storage building. Right now we're trying to store the pipe we can indoors. We don't have enough room indoors, so we have some pipe stored outside. UV rays destroys the coating on the piping, so we can't keep it outside too long. Our steel piping has been out there quite a while, so when we do use the piping is still good. It's the coating on the piping that's bad. So we're having to re-wrap the piping, pretty much an entire set of piping. So it gets a little pricey when we use steel. We don't use much steel anymore. Everything's polypipe. We can store polypipe inside or outside. There's only a 3-year shelf life on polypipe. So from the manufacture date to the date you put that in the ground, there's only a 3 years. So that polypipe doesn't really matter where you store it at that point. We'd like to store it inside.
Would it be economical to build a bigger storage shed for water pipe, their deal there, in the back of the power plant?
We could look at that. 2 different locations, but it's a good thought.
But if the purchase goes through on the property next to the gas plant, there's 2 extra buildings there, isn't there?
Yeah.
They could be used for storage?
Yeah.
That would solve that problem?
One of the buildings is in pretty decent shape. I gotta get Ken Robinson to go look at it. I've walked through it a couple times, and it looks like a real good building for that purpose.
Exactly.
We'd have to cut a doorway in it. It's only got 1 entry door, and it's kind of in an awkward situation, but looking at it, and a little bit of the knowledge I have, it don't look like it'd be too hard to get a door cut in that, and then we could use that as a storage building. So that's one of the purposes that we're looking at of purchasing that property.
Would that be something that, like, to Frank's thought, is maybe utilizing that building is big enough to where we can use that for water as well?
I'd have to see what type of piping and stuff the water is wanting to store. I can't answer that for the water department. For my piping, I could.
The water department, the water pipes generally come in 20-foot sticks, so we'd have to look at.
Yeah, I don't know what the sizes and how much pipe they're wanting to store.
Probably good to maybe expand the size of the building if necessary.
There's
You don't have to
room.
build 2 different buildings.
Yeah, there's room in the property to do quite a bit of different work there, so that's what's good about the property right there. That would be it for 2024, 2025. The 500 and 600 block of West Kansas Avenue. We got some 6-inch gas main in there that I'd like to get replaced. Probably about 600 feet. We've done some work in those 2 blocks, and the coating on that pipe seems to be a little poor. Our cathodic protection is still good on there. It's just something in the future, I think that coating is going to create problems, so that's why I got it down to the 2025 year and not any bit sooner. We're not having problems yet, but I anticipate in the future that that's something that we might have problems with. We also have some piping going through some storm drains on San Pedro and Strong at the intersection there. Again, we monitor that piping yearly. It's not giving us problems at this time. We've had to remove the storm drain and do some taping coating on the pipe. But that's something in the future I'd like to get out of there and try to reroute that piping. So that takes me all the way through 2025.
Do you have any estimates, cost on any of these?
Yeah, pretty much all of them.
What's your bottom dollar that you're looking at, and did you calculate that?
I got them. I don't have it all totaled. So the regulator station's doing that at $110,000. That's material only. All the labor is going to be internal. So my gas crew will do the labor and the work.
Do you have it broke down by year where we could just look at a total cost per year?
I budgeted everything, the 5 stations for, actually it's 4 stations at 110. I already purchased in 2020 budget, we had 1 station. I believe they were about $30,000 per station, 30 to 35,000.
Let's do this, if you would, when you leave here,
Mhm.
if you have numbers on there, could you maybe go down to City Hall and get copies and have someone bring them back up so you know what they were back for the end of the day?
Yeah, I can do that.
That way we can have some.
Yeah, I can make copies of this. I got numbers. If you want me to break down
How
the
many
rate
do you have?
station,
Printer right here. So we don't
Yeah.
have to go to sleep.
We can get it for you.
because I got all the numbers broke down on here.
Recommend?
12 copies, 30.
12 copies.
12 copies?
Steve,
You're the man.
would you get that to Kim so she could add to, she missed this in our spreadsheet.
Okay.
She'll put in each
Should
year.
put this in the And then the property was $212,000. The 6-inch main replacement from commercial to convent on First Street, material only will run about $8,000. Again, that'll be done internally with my gas department doing the work. Street repairs not included in that. I think there's gonna be a grant, or I don't know how that, supposed to get the whole street and sidewalks done from my understanding. So I didn't include any of the street repair on that. The 4-inch gas line from on Morris Canyon Road from Peak to Santa Fe Trail is about 2,000 feet. I got that at $85,000. Again, that's material. Gas department's gonna be doing the labor. I believe I have the labor included in that. The installation of our pipe, I have it based on a $42 per foot. That's basically material, equipment, and labor is what I kind of rounded that off to. From some of our other work orders that I've done, we usually, I see what the pricing of the pipe is. Again, that's our pricing of the pipe that we get to purchase it for the city. That's not the price that we do the work for individual people. That's internal work. Garfield and Hayes, the 4-way cross is about $35,000. Again, that's material. Labor would be internal on our part. That does include a street repair on that one too.
Safe. Are you planning on putting a gas line out towards Wendy's in that area with the water line?
We have a gas line now all the way to Tequila's.
Oh, okay. Just curious if we were.
Yeah, when Wendy's built, our gas line used to cross right there at Tower 64, go across the highway and feed
Right.
Walmart and stuff. When Wendy's came in and built there, we extended it from that point right there all the way to Wendy's. I think it was about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, we extended it from Wendy's to Tequila's, and we served the house behind Tequila's also. So we run down to Tequila's. I don't know what the county road is right there, and we go up the county road between Tequila's and it used to be that thrift store. So we do go there. We have a stub that sticks out from that intersection going south about 20 feet. So we do have gas all the way up to that point.
We have anybody from Power Light coming in?
Yeah, Gene's supposed to be.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So the mayor said these retreats are beneficial, but they're also scary. Because,
With the money,
no,
Or
with, you know, you're talking
infrastructure.
about different
Infras-
areas in your department that might be potential problems for us, that might cause an emergency situation. So my question is budgetary. Where does the money come from in case of an emergency?
We have, I can't remember how much in the gas department, but we have some
Each-
contingencies.
we have,
Yeah.
Okay, each department has.
Oh, yeah, and we have, by council's direction and ordinance, we have 4 months operating in reserve, and then each utility probably even have more.
You know, that was the reason why, you know, in 2017, when we started getting
Yes, sir.
that revenue, when the council at that time, they wanted to spend all the money. And I said, no, you know, let's put some into a reserve account. So that's the reason for the rainy day funding. The rainy day fund is for that purpose, in case something like that, an emergency arises, we have the ability to cover it.
I have another, I have a couple questions. One question was, so when you're talking about the gas regulation stations,
yes,
how many do we have in operation?
we have 8 in operation.
What do they look like? I didn't even know there was such a
They all look different. The nicest one we have is the one by Chimino Park. It's right there on the intersection of Convent and Cedar Street. It's the brick building.
Okay.
There's 2 buildings, one's a restroom facility.
Oh.
Yeah, and the other one is our, that's the nicest looking one. All of our regulators, equipment and stuff is in a building. We don't have any external regulators. Some towns have external regulators, all ours are enclosed.
That's great.
So that's the nicest one. Across from our gas shop on Linden, we have one. It's a tin building. Pro panel, it's kind of a tan color. Out by the, kind of by Topar Welding, across the street from Topar, there's another little building. It's a tin building. They're all pretty much the same color with the tan.
Let's
It's
do
nice
this.
to know.
Let's do this, maybe there's nobody here from those right now, Bar Night Fire Police right now. Why don't we move on to the after the break portion? We have the sports and recreation. We have Marty here. Why don't we let him report?
Sure.
Marty, why don't we give you a Marty? Okay.
All done?
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, sir. Great job. Yeah, bravo.
The thing that Steve didn't mention is our AMI project. If you recall, that's in our 15-year strategic plan, it feels like. Every time we turn around, there's something with it. They're not installing the gas meters, the old gas meters. They're just doing the retrofits. There's Dean right here. The retrofits, the replacements are being done by Steve and his crew with some temporary help. So that's ongoing right now. So that kind of, with everything else he's got going on, he's got to keep that moving.
We're replacing about 2,500 gas meters.
Wow.
Dean, you made it.
Oh, I've been here. I thought it was one-on-one.
Hey, Lee.
It's 1 on 12.
So go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're here to talk about our 5-year strategic plan. So I thought about this for a long time and how I'm gonna go with this. I think we need to have some transparency because I inherited a kind of a mess with the power and light department. We have no money, can't figure out where the money is. So if I'm responsible for a department, I gotta find out where the money is. I'm trying to find out. Mike was in charge 5 years before and he knew there was a problem. We all knew there was a problem. We could never figure out where it was. So then we do metering project that does all the reading for us, hoping that verifies where we're losing money. So in the meantime, I get a hold of NMPP, they come down, they do an audit of our meters. So we went and checked all our polyphase meters, did everything was good. Still no money. So the power line, we've been shorthanded we lose guys and we're gonna replace a couple now, but we've been shorthanded. We haven't bought any vehicles. We have one truck, we're still using a truck from 1986. And I kind of feel responsible, now I'm kind of stuck behind the 8 ball because I inherited a huge problem. So I'm here to tell all you guys, I need help. I need help from all you to figure out where this money is, because.
And that's the reason why for this retreat is for you to give us a 5-year plan.
Well, I can tell you all the stuff in the world that I want to do, changing a substation, but there's no money.
Well, we need to know those, what those items are so that we can, plan going forward.
But the real problem is we need to figure out the billing issues. Because billing is the ones who collects the money, and they tell me, you have no money. You can't get any equipment. You can't get any material. We're cutting the budget every year. So now I gotta come and tell you guys, this is what my plan is for 5 years, and I don't have the money. The money, the projects that we have going on, we're changing the breakers at the substation, which was $330,000, come from marijuana cultivation money. It's not even coming out of our budget because we have no money. And I'm not here to be, but I thought about this a long time. I need help because the billing department who's telling me I don't have money is responsible for collecting that money. And it got to the point where I was asking so many questions that I wasn't even allowed to go down there anymore. And I'm just trying to be honest, I'm not trying to get nobody in trouble.
My opening statement today was to say that we're looking at what we've got going on, but also if we have any deficiencies. And like I said, this is a time for us to be honest with every particular department. But we also need to have a strategic plan from you with the costs so that we have.
And I understand that. Now, if we put this on, if it was you, if you were at home and you had, you and your wife both worked and you had an income, and you find out that you're losing money and you can't afford to even get gas, and somebody, Ms. Grego, tells you, Phil, give us a plan. What's your plan for the future in retirement? You're gonna say, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do because I don't have any money. It's hard. I mean, believe me, I didn't even want to come today, but I figured you guys all need to know. There's a huge problem there, and I know he tried to deal with it, and I inherited a huge
Well,
problem.
in order for us to be able to deal with it, we need to know what those figures, what those numbers are.
But there's a lot.
We understand that.
No, but here, let me finish it.
The water department gave us a 5-year strategic plan with costs, and they're astronomical. Those are the things that we need to know.
Right.
In order to be able to plan for it.
But this is what I'm getting at. For the last 5 years, we haven't done no maintenance. You realize if we had a storm of any kind of magnitude, we don't have nothing. And who's it gonna fall on me? I'm just trying to say that,
I have a question. Have
Sure.
you talked to Cheryl?
yes,
Because I've looked at the financials and it doesn't show electric department and any kind of budgetary issues.
Audra's looked at it, Mike's looked at it, we all looking at it.
So is there or is there not? Because I didn't see it. Maybe I'm deficient.
Our revenues are a shortfall in power line for the last 5 years. So thinking that the metering project would cure it. We've come closer. We're losing. I think I've said this when we went with the metering project. We're 7 million kilowatts that are lost out there, unaccounted for. So we're coming
So
down
somebody's
to
stealing a huge amount.
what I don't stealing.
Not being billed. And this could have to do with when we switched over to Tyler, the new billing system. Because there's even a problem in the gas department. The gas department is selling more gas than they're buying. I'm buying this much power, or not the city of electricity, but I'm selling this much. So break even, I'm here, but we sell it for more. I should be here, but I'm here. But I'm told every year from billing downstairs, you have no money. But on the same sense, whose responsibility is it? They should be finding out, because when I've asked about it, it's just like nobody cares.
Well, I think we.
And if you want a list of all these things, I can give it to you, but I kind of feel
That's what we're here for.
Well-
We need to know what those items are so that we can be able to plan going
Go
forward.
ahead.
I really think that to get to the bottom of this, we need to address what
The utility.
Dean is talking about first. I mean, it's like standing at a car accident and talking about if anyone has a hang to discuss a 5-year plan. We need to determine what that is first.
You want to know what my 5-year plan is?
No, I'm saying to discuss a 5-year
This
plan
is-
is
this
the
is
equivalent of
more
discussing a hangnail at a car accident. We need to triage the car accident first. The loss of money. That's my opinion.
It's a huge deal. It really is, and I hate to be the bad guy here, but a lot of the problem was estimated. So if I got your read and I said, well, Phil couldn't have used that much money or that much electricity, I'm going to change it to this. That went on for years. There, I'll tell you what, where the triggers play at Central Park, since 2003, nobody paid that light bill. And those lights are on all the time.
Those are the type of things that we need to address.
Exactly, and I've been trying to address it, Phil. But here's the deal. I've been addressing it, it got to the point where I wasn't allowed to go downstairs anymore. I had to have a go-between when I was asking the right questions.
So who was not allowed to go down
Cheryl. I wasn't allowed to talk to Ruth, I had to talk to Shelley.
there? Right, what's the answer?
So, personalities, got in the way, that personnel has changed. Going forward, like Dean said, we've analyzed this in I don't know how many different ways, trying to figure it out. Cheryl is in contact with Tyler and their database group to make sure that we are billing correctly. The AMI project has helped with getting actual reads. We still don't have all the polyphase meters in. The excuse now is COVID. None of the supplies are there, so the polyphase meters are the bigger users, the bigger meters. So we're still on old meters there. I don't know, Dean, how many of them?
We've changed the majority of them out. We still have, I think, 9 to do. Our project's almost done. But if we're gonna get to the real problem and all this, when these new meters, just so you guys understand, when it reads automatic and goes right to the city hall. Well, there was a number of months where those meters the results were coming in and they were still being manipulated. Because it was so out of whack from all the estimating before, now I can't do the real read. So it was still getting manipulated. And that was brought to people's attention. And nothing was ever done.
I think it was
Well,
taken care of.
it went like another 6 months. But it's a stalemate. It's just like and this whole project is a performance-based contract.
Right.
Well, I think it's kind of voided because numbers were still manipulated.
So why do the other utilities seem to be on track? So if it's the
Well,
utility.
Steve is selling more gas than he's buying. It's
That's
out
not
of whack
on
too.
track.
No,
That's
it's out of
straight
whack.
up. You get just as much trouble for selling more than you're buying. That is that's against federal law.
So I would, on Steve's end, we don't have a true read for, because he's still replacing, like he said, 2,500 meters. So it's an ongoing issue. When I brought the AMI to you, it was to try and figure out what is going on, why these reads are off, why we're purchasing more, why we're purchasing so much and only selling so much. So,
Is it time to look at a new billing system or a new billing company? Do you think that's an issue now?
I know that Tyler is good for our financials, very, very reliable. Billing, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to, we need to get to the bottom of it.
What is Tyler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is Tyler, Mike?
What is it?
Yeah, is it a guy or an acronym or?
It's the name of the company.
Oh,
It's their
Okay.
government municipal software.
TYLER?
Correct.
I'll try to hear you, saw this from the ground, where do you see it?
It's like a black hole. I saw these numbers, I've seen what the gas department numbers are, and when you look at the detail, I mean, it literally boils down to looking at all of the details of everybody's accounts. I would agree with you that estimating is definitely an issue. I'm hoping that the AMI project will we'll start seeing a change. But even to find that those lights at Summer Park weren't being billed, that's gotta represent a huge number for the power and light fund. Yeah. The other thing I would say too is, I don't know if necessarily we're keeping up with rates for his department. I think that's another factor that's probably impacting it some as well. Because, you know, the city sees increases in our costs every single year. I don't know the last time that we've actually increased power rates to even keep up with that trend. And so I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I was glad to see the rate study happen, not the rate study, the group come in and take a look at the information. I think, you know, they did as best they could without looking at all of the details, but I think that's what it's gonna end up boiling down to is literally looking at every account's details and going in and verifying, and they've done an awful lot of that. They've gone out to see, is that meter jiving with what we're seeing in the, you know, on paper? They've had to do that, and, I don't know. I don't know what it's looked like since they started bringing those meters online. I don't know if it's improving now or it's not.
I've asked that and I haven't got a response.
Could you get that answer for him?
Yep. Again, I don't want you guys, I'm not here to cause trouble, it's just,
No, I
this
said,
is kind of disturbing,
well,
we're trying to.
I say, when I up these things, if there are deficiencies out there, we want to talk about it. We need to know.
Sir.
I'm glad we're doing it. Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, when I was on the council before, we had this issue come up and nothing was ever done about it. You know, I brought up the statement about the triggers using the lights and that, and no money coming in, and why we were doing that, because it is a big investment. And what the big question is, why have we waited so long this has been going on for more than 5 years, I can tell you that. How come we haven't been able to get this taken care of, sooner? Because now it's getting to be a point where it is a black hole, and how do we get out of it? Where we buy our power from actually got better rates than when I was in there, so we should be making some money for their department, and we need to really get to the bottom of this, because this is kind of putting a lot of pressure on Mike, Dean, and everybody, and I don't know, is Cheryl done all the accounting? Do we have any I mean, does she do everything for the building and everything? Or do we have other people doing this stuff?
Well, there's,
I know we go through the utilities. but-
right, and there's the billing staff that takes care of all the billing, and then, right now with the AMI, it meshes with our billing, and so the reads are, corrected. We've analyzed, all kinds of different methods. Of course, with power, there is line loss, so, our line loss percentage is above normal, quite a bit above normal, so,
And I do know personally, you know, the substation does need actually needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
Fixed. It needed that when I was working with the power line, that was a long time ago.
Well, we have the breakers on the 4160 side that don't even operate, you can't even buy parts. They don't operate anymore.
believe that.
So we're using marijuana cultivation money to replace the breakers. And right now, going out for, what's it, a request for qualifications
RFQ for an engineering.
firm to look, oversee and changing out our breakers. And that's gonna be $330,000, but we already have the money for that, and that's, I think you guys already looked at it. But it's a huge problem, and it's a tough one for me to deal with on a daily basis. I sweat every time the wind blows, I'm not kidding.
So would you have a question?
I'm curious about the sort of manipulation. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so if the meters read themselves, and it comes in, it goes right to our data system. Well, the person that was estimating before, the meters were so out of whack what the reads were, because now their bill's gonna be higher. She was still manipulating those numbers so that it wouldn't, and it was still just throwing everything off whack.
So even after there was this automated system in place, somebody was
Yes.
stepping in and changing it?
Yes,
Because people's bills would be too high.
Because it,
Did they
It
have
was out of whack.
authority? Did they have authority to do that?
exactly.
Do you have both data sets, like the original raw numbers and?
Yes, everything's like that.
So we could look at that and get.
It's way worse than what you know.
Well, it's
That's
been
that way.
known a long time that there's been problems within our electrical grid in town. And,
There is.
And now on top of that, we have deficiencies here. And but I think that this is the reason that we wanted to hear from you.
No, that's fine.
What you're really faced with.
The maintenance, I think my guys have done a great job with the maintenance for what little we have and what short-handed we are. I still work with my guys, and I know I hear a lot of times that I don't dress like everybody else at City Hall, but I still go in the substation, I still work, because we are short-handed. And I'm responsible for something, so I'm gonna make sure it stays working.
Are you, the applications, are you getting any applications for to fill those positions?
We filled one, a groundman position with a transfer from the water department, and we have another one that was out to the public, and I was off last week. So I will find out today what that entails, if there's applicants.
I saw that in the newspaper.
Yeah. I did have a guy hired, and he recently quit, and he took another job because basically he was pretty much worked too much.
I have a follow-up question. Do you feel like if these problems were taken care of, and you could let us know what the situation is with the infrastructure, could you assess for us what needs to be done?
Sure. I gave you some projects right there, but the thing is, we've been neglecting pole changeouts for so long because we didn't have poles. Basically, our system is old. There's some poles on First Street are from 1924. They still have the date now.
Just to reflect a little, you sound overwhelmed, and I want to communicate, and probably everyone, we're here to help you.
No, and I appreciate
We're
it.
here to hear you.
That's what I'm here asking. I need help to figure out where this problem is.
Yeah.
And we should be making a lot of money, the electric department, but to be losing like that, it's just like Frank worked, I worked with Frank. He knows what it entails.
Hey, Dean, have you ever applied for marijuana money to replace that old truck?
Can't,
Why?
because we're
Enterprise.
enterprise.
Uh,
That's why they get the cultivation money only. That money was designated for, for an offset to help the utilities because of the draw that they have on the utilities.
Okay.
So I will say too, I'm optimistic all the time, but I think it was a big help for all of our utilities when Mike became city manager and then brought these foremen up to these roles, because then they're able to get some specific focus that they haven't been able to have necessarily, because I don't know if you all realize how busy we are in our offices, but I mean, day to day, we're slammed, absolutely slammed with work, and so that was probably one of the best things that could have happened. And I think now we've got Shelley downstairs who's doing the utility billing, and I'm again hopeful that things will turn around.
So why is it that we can't use some of that marijuana money? Because we're using some of that marijuana money in some of the other departments. And you're saying because it's utility?
Like all the trucks that we bought. What departments did they go?
They're out of their own funds, utilities. The general fund trucks were for departments in the general fund.
So we've allocated some of that marijuana money to pay off some of those utility trucks, as well, like the fire department.
The fire department is general fund.
And
And we're paying on Powerlight's newest truck. It's a lease purchase, and we have 3 years left, I believe, on
So
that.
that reallocation that we have in the reserve fund,
Yes.
we can reallocate some of that money into his department if necessary?
I have to look at it and talk with Cheryl and the auditor as far as enterprise funds are supposed to maintain themselves, same like with the landfill. Now that the landfill's out of the general fund and is an enterprise, that fund is $1 million in the hole.
Let's take a look at
Well,
this.
see, the truck that we do have that's new, I think it's like 2 years old, but the newest truck up until that one is 2002. And then we go all the way to 86. So I think that's why none of you have ever seen me before at a council meeting, because I don't have money to buy anything. I've seen you walk in 100 times for council meetings, but I've never been at one, because it's kind of like I have nothing to talk about because there's nothing to get.
You should go, they're fun.
I'm just saying, we're in dire straits.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, from 2002, there was superintendent, and then there was a temporary superintendent, and then when I came, in 2012, when I came back, I was public works director and utilities director. I'm not looking for excuses, trust me, we've been trying to figure this out, but there's been a problem there for a while. I think it's working itself out now that the AMI is in place and estimating is done. Like Frank said, it's kind of hard to do a rate study when ARPA, not only have they maintained the same, they actually went down a little bit in their charges here a year ago when they defeased some of the bonds for that power plant that they were doing. So,
Dean, you say that you've been hesitant to try to come to council. If you ever have something of which really great importance that you need to report to council.
I think you just heard it.
Oh, we did. I understand that. But if there's anything else that really begins to, and you need to talk to us some more, get with Mike and say you would like a request to report to council.
No, that's fine.
I think we need that.
But I want you to know my stress level is up here. When you're responsible for the whole town, and you gotta admit, as old as our system is, our outages are very few and far. If we have an outage, it's because of San Isabel. I mean, I give it all to my workers because they do a heck of a job, but it just got to the point, and I didn't wanna come here to be the bad guy, but I'm at a kind of a breaking point. I didn't even know what to say anymore. I had all last week off, I'd taken another week off before because I didn't even know how to do this. It's that important of a deal where, and again, I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a problem, we need to fix it, that's why I'm asking for help.
Okay, well, like I said, I think, now we know, and, we'll work with Mr. Valentine to try to see if we get to the bottom of the billing system or what other issues that, because there's gotta be a beginning point, and try to start there, and what has to be.
I have a question. How has this manifested itself in previous audits? I mean, I would have thought this would have raised.
It's been losing money. First, we had the sewer fund that was always losing money, now it's reversed, and now Power and Light, it shows up.
There was a lot of money from reserves and Power and Light that went to the sewer department way back when it was forever ago. But for the last few years, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's at the point now where I don't even know what to say anymore.
Can we get them guys on fleet management for vehicles? Power and Light?
So that we can, for vehicles, we could use the cultivation monies that we're receiving. I believe the fleet is again out of the general fund. So
I think that's a good discussion, one-on-one, that we need to have.
okay.
How's your inventory for poles and wire? When I was there, we had a big issue because the superintendent, I'm not mentioning names, but the superintendent, he had, instead of stocking up stuff, he always gave back stuff. And it was ridiculous, and the inventory just went down and down.
We were almost out of poles, and then I talked to Mike about it, and we did purchase some, but that stockpile's pretty much gone because we started replacing them right away.
Yeah, and I think we need to build that up and do that, even wire, we have wire and stuff, I mean, because like I say, I was there, we've had some storms sometimes, been lucky that we haven't had any.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now with the power plant, with the heat that we've been having, we're at it's at its breaking point.
Right.
Hey, Mike, is through that, something we'll talk about ARPA this afternoon, maybe that's a discussion to get into, see if we can apply through the SET program or something, I don't know.
Yeah, we did turn in some through SCED. We actually put in for 12.5 million for substation through Hickenlooper and Bennett's program. Those didn't rise to the top. But they're on their radar. I spoke to a gentleman out of Hickenlooper's office, and they're still out there. So through the ARP funding, the state funding, well, you were on the call with Tara. There's all these bills that are out there in funding, just no rules, no applications yet. So as they come available, we'll be applying.
Okay. Well, Dean, we understand, your position, as best we can.
Thank you for this.
I have
Thank
one
you
more
for
question.
coming
If I
forward.
may.
Go ahead.
Dean, with specifically relating to life, health, and safety issues, I know you mentioned you haven't asked for anything in a long time. Is there anything your department is making do with substandard material, procedure, anything due to this?
No, that would never happen. And I'll be honest with you, my guys do pretty much all the maintenance on the trucks. As far as the greasing the trucks and cleaning the booms, they do a great job of that. But no, that would never happen. No, we're working safe, but it's just, we're kind of short-handed is all.
Dean, thank you.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate you for your time.
Okay.
Thanks, Dean.
So Texted the fire chief.
I saw.
He's here.
Chief out there.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're out
They're
there.
here,
I thought there was a
they're in the,
break.
they're in the office.
Okay.
I thought there was a break.
There he is.
Yeah.
There's a break. Sit down.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter where I go.
No, it's over there, Chief.
Have a seat.
Well, that's,
I knew you would be.
Get him to the
Right.
kitchen.
Hey, Marty,
huh?
you have it set at 60 or what?
It's freezing in
I
here.
know, Alaska. It's hot.
It's so cold. I'm about to like.
I know I don't like to be cold.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like about to curl up in my skirt.
You have electric heat in here? We need some power. Tim, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for being here. Got the floor, buddy.
Excuse me, sinuses. Just our short and long-term goals. This year, we've got a new pump for the brush truck. It's currently being installed right now. We're working on fit test for our SCBA mask, which is a OSHA and an NFPA regulation. For our SCBA's, you need to make sure that they fit right when you're in hazardous atmospheres. And when it's all done, we might need to purchase between 5 and 8 new masks, so that every individual will have their own mask and they're responsible for it. And those run about $500 a piece. We're also forming a committee to write all the bid specs for a new brush truck that we've been okay to purchase next year. That's going to be coming out of the fleet fund.
Do you have any idea about how much that would be?
Uh,
Approximately?
yeah, it's going to be anywhere between 180 and 200,000. Writing the bid specs takes about 6 months to do.
She wants to know what a brush truck is.
Our wildland truck that we send out and deploy it,
Okay.
that's the one that, since we started going out on wildland and being deployed out, that truck has paid for itself at least twice over. But it's also a 2009 and it goes through, it's pretty hard to use when it's out on deployment. So hopefully we'll have all the specs written and we can go out for a request for proposals and go out on bid by the end of the year. We're also looking this year trying to get computers or tablets in all of our trucks. It'll make it a lot easier when we go out and do inspections because we can do everything on the tablet instead of doing the inspection and then having to go back to the office and put everything in the computer. We're also looking at getting a mapping program for our computers now. That way we can, every time we go out and inspect hydrants or anything like that, we can put it on the mapping program. And if we're on our way to a call, we can bring it up and we can say, okay, let's not hit this hydrant. It only has 500 gallons a minute, but this one over here is 1,500 gallons a minute. So that's one of the other things we're working on right now. It also has vehicle maintenance and checkoffs on the same program. And then we're also in the process of replacing the heater at Station 1. It's the original heater that's been in there since 1975.
It's in Station 1.
The one up on Santa Fe Trail. And that's in progress right now. City Council already approved that money. Next year, we're looking at equipping Station 1 with an emergency generator. That should cost right around $30,000. The only generator we have right now is at Station 2 on Nevada. We're also gonna purchase the brush truck next year. That's gonna take about 6 months to get it built. Once we award the contract, it's gonna take about 6 months to build it. So if we can get it done early in the year, we'll have it by this time during the summer, so it can go out. Next year, we're also gonna form another committee to write the bid specs for a new pumper that's scheduled to be replaced in 2023. And that's gonna take at least a year to write the specs for those.
Now, we did purchase a new pumper,
In 2015,
was that what it was?
and then in,
We bought a
18.
ladder truck, didn't we, with some marijuana money?
Yes.
That's what, not a pumper, it was a ladder truck.
No, we purchased a new pumper in 15 also. And then the ladder truck we got in 19.
So the lifespan on these are about 8 to 10 years, is that what you're saying?
Normally you have a first out engine that will last 10 years and then spend 5 years as reserve. If we purchase one new vehicle every 5 years, by the time we get back around to replacing the first one, it's gonna be 25, almost 30 years old. The reserve engine that we have right now is a 98. And we still have it as reserve in case one of the others go down.
Do you know what kind of resale value those have when we replace them at all? I mean, is it pretty low or?
It's normally pretty low. As long as, well,
Honey, could you turn your hair down a little bit?
the bigger departments will replace them, like I said, they'll replace them every 15 years. So they'll get more of a resale value on them. When we're replacing them at 25 to 30 years old, we're not gonna get anything for it. And then in 2023 is when we're actually gonna buy the new pumper.
Thank you, Marty. You're welcome.
And that's it basically for our short-term goals. Our long-range goal is we need to plan in the future, probably 5, 6 years down the road, to build a new fire station. The newest station we have is up on Santa Fe Trail, and it was built in 1975. The one I'm in on Nevada was built in 1920.
So that's still new.
It was, yeah. It was remodeled in 2000, and they added the 2 bays on the side in 2000. But you're still looking at, that's 22 years ago.
So with building a new fire station, will we still keep the
Yes.
old ones? So we'll have to add personnel to that.
Yes. Where are you gonna build it? Excuse me. Where you're gonna build it is gonna be dependent on which direction we grow. Right now, it looks like about the only places we can grow would be to the north and to the east. So we're gonna need a station out there, especially if we do grow a lot. Now, building a station right now, it would cost you about $3.5 million. Build a standard size station. If you're gonna build one, you're gonna probably need to plan for the future and build it big enough to handle building it in the future. You're gonna have to put at least $1 million worth of equipment in it and outfit it after you build a station, because you're gonna have to have a pumper and a ladder truck in it also. Or at least 2 pumpers. And then staffing it when you build that new station. Right now, we are currently running 3 5-man shifts and one 6-man shift and 2 other 5-man shifts. We normally have 5 people on duty at a time. When you build a new station, I'd like to see at least 3 people at each station on each shift. So you basically be looking at doubling the size of our fire department. You'd have to hire 14 people, 12 firefighters, and at that time, you're gonna have a fire marshal's position in this town. We need one now, and especially with all the growth and everything that's gonna be taking place, you're gonna need to have that position. And with that, you're also gonna need a secretary, so you'd be looking at hiring 14 people, and we only have 17 people in our department now. So that's something that it's gonna have to be planned for in the future. It's not, we don't have to have it right now, but if we continue to grow, we are gonna have to have it. Anybody having questions?
Do you have any problems that you want to bring forward that you're seeing?
Really? We're still just doing what we do.
Thank you for taking care of our community. I know you're in that department that sees the ugly side of everything that would happen. So thank you and your staff for what you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa, great job.
Karen likes to know when the break's gonna be.
That's actually true.
You look at your agenda, that question's been answered.
Morning. Morning, Chief. How are you?
Good, good.
Nice to get a little chair lady.
We used to get to go to Trinidad Lake. Martin Lake?
Yeah. Martin was there.
We went once.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
Good. How are you? Good, good.
Charlie, did you need the projector or?
I was gonna do, I got a theme for this crime watch. It's a little, can we do it or no? 'Cause if not, we could just, I got a handout too.
You got one too.
No, I forgot my laptop. But I got one here.
He's the one who's like.
I don't know.
No, how are you, Chief?
Good, how are you? Good. Oh, yeah. I just seen the.
How's it going so far?
Oh, yes, very interesting.
This is actually the best.
You got a laptop, Marty?
No, that's what I told Mike, we have the projector stuff,
I
but,
know.
who's this? Worley took all our,
Have you come to this instead of just going to the office?
he took all our laptops.
That's Tom Murphy's stuff, Chief.
No. That's-
Where's Mike? He said they were gonna bring him.
He's just right out the door.
Oh, that's probably where he went. He went to get you one, Charlie.
No. You already found a house, and good for you.
Well, I found.
You know, this is kind of natural. You've got the purple shirt. Yeah.
Charles got to
Oh,
see
yeah.
you.
Yes. Where your clipboard, nephew? Yeah. Don't make me bloody my knuckles on that.
We've been alternating.
That's where you were.
I don't think I have an HDMI.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be.
You're gonna have to
We
mine the
lost
video
focus.
this way.
Okay. Really? We lost
Everybody
the
did a
grip.
break on their own.
That's right.
I thought he was setting up, I didn't know we were ready to go.
Oh,
Are we ready,
I
Chief?
was gonna do,
Slide
but it's on,
presentation.
it's on the end anyway, so.
Oh, great, I hope they didn't ruin the visual break.
no, they can use that.
Right. That's right.
I'm all about this.
We could start.
That's me a kill tell.
Yeah, let's wait for Chief. I have a computer. I could see if I said earlier.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh. What's it called?
There's only one thing on there. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Charlie, this is.
Yeah, just
That's all right.
The man with the plan, see?
Yeah.
Computer and
I
everything.
know.
Well, she
Showing us
told me to
all
bring
the
it,
day
and
one.
I don't know if I would stick that thumb drive from the police chief in my computer.
That's why it's red.
Probably got ransom software.
How does this work, Marty? How does this work?
Kinda.
Right. Oh, he got it.
I think I'll figure it out. These things are pretty,
They're on it, they get it.
oh.
There it goes. It's cheese. Cheese melted.
2 or 3.
I got confused there, I think, too.
My daughter can
We're
work a
taking
tablet.
that young kid that,
And she's
she's a lot young and has computers. What's the name of the guy that work at the city?
Yeah.
That does computers, what's his name?
Oh, Hayden.
Go ahead, guys.
That kid is, since he was like 15, he's
Yeah.
been like that, or younger, but he followed in his dad's footsteps.
Yeah,
But he's fast.
He way past his dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Does we nothing? Oh, sorry.
Karen. Yeah. No, Aiden is, yeah, he's
He went to that NASA competition
Oh,
on
did he?
all the robotics, and I mean, some of the stuff.
They won it.
Yeah, they won it.
Junior college.
I had to do some stuff with me personally last year.
He did all the blue
I
stuff.
had some issues with my computer, he sat down and looked at it and said, yeah, that's your problem. I'm sure to anything. If you ever need any work, you got his number, let me know.
Now we're missing Frank.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you know what, that's what happens when you employ old people.
We figured the 10-10 break.
Yeah. Only 2 hours, not even 2 hours.
We started early now, we didn't wait till 8:30, so you're pushing ladder limitations.
All right, let's
All right,
all
here we
accounted for.
Okay, so just a few things, Mike wanted us to do our 5-year goals. I guess the biggest thing that we're gonna do, and this is something I wanted to do for a while, we originally started with our body cams. That Senate Bill 217, now you have to have them, I've had them for years, so we're way ahead of the process for that. But LensLock has an application that will work for our cars as well. It will be all the same as our cameras, it'll be all cloud-based. As it's happening, it goes to the cloud. So I want to put those in the budget for 2022. That's something we need to do, and it's again going to help us. It's going to keep the officers safer, as well as the public, because it's going to be one more piece to keep an eye on things and what's going on.
Do you have an approximate cost on what that might be?
I don't. They're supposed to do a demonstration for me, and then they'll give me a number, and then I'll sweet talk Mike and try to get that going. But it's something we really need to do. We had them in the past years ago, but they're much better now, and they're a lot more transparent because as it's happening, it's gonna go right up to the cloud. So they're, everybody says you alter the body cams. There's absolutely no way to do it because it goes straight up into the cloud before I even see it. So it's the only way I alter them is later after when we get them and we redact things out of them to release it to the public. But now we're required also by Senate Bill 217 to have that video footage a lot sooner than we were.
You bring the question up, you talk about redacting. Do you do that yourself, or is there a group of policemen that get together?
Actually, my secretary does that. And what they're redacting is faces of people that are involved and stuff like that, our information that
Just want to make sure that.
isn't part of the thing, yeah. Another big thing that we want to do is our CACP accreditation. CIRSA is going to make it a requirement. I don't remember the year, but we're ahead of the game. I'm right there. I'm this close. What's going to finally push me over is we found a company out there. It's called Guardian Tracking. It's a lot cheaper than what is the other name of the other company out there that does it? God, I can't think of the name of it. Anyway,
Rexing does it.
yeah, but no, this one actually they work off of Lexico. It's a lot cheaper. It's Guardian Tracking, and the Guardian Tracking also they're going to help us get accredited. We have everything in line to do it. I mean, we're right there to do it. I just gotta get it where they come in and they do the evaluation for us.
What is CACP?
It's Colorado Chiefs of Police Association.
CACP.
Colorado
Association of Chiefs of Police.
Chief Police,
Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
thank you.
So maybe, we don't need to know that now, but in the future, can you supply us with the goals of what you need to be
So-
to meet in order to get?
So we're there. But one of the biggest things was the policy overhaul and make sure that, what they do is they give you points of what you gotta have in your policy. So if we're talking about cameras, you have to have everything in line to make sure you check off on the points of what's required. That way, you just don't have the cameras, but you're meeting the requirements of the state plus. So that's what we're at. And we're there. Everything's there. It's just a matter of a few more tweaks and then them actually coming and doing the assessment of the department. So I hope to have that done sooner than later. We're gonna upgrade the police department conference room and table. That is actually your old one from City Hall, so I think that's from the 70s. So we've upgraded quite a bit of our department. Since COVID, I know you guys haven't been in our building, but even our training room, we got all brand new furniture there, we got new flooring. That allows me to host a lot more training. We did a CIT training last week, had people from other agencies. With the post board in our region, we're able to host, so that allows me to host the class, usually get an officer in there for free, and then I don't have to pay the travel and stuff for that as well. So we have to come up with some kind of solution for downtown parking. I know you guys are doing that study, and we're kind of holding off on that to see what that is going to give us. We do it the old-fashioned way, and it's just not very efficient. It's marking the tires, going back in 2 hours, and doing it. I've seen several applications out there. They got them where you could just drive by, and the reader reads the plates. You go back by, and they tell you which ones to stop and give tickets to. I mean, there's a lot more efficient ways to do this. One of the things we'll have to change, though, is we got a nasty habit of our people downtown is to stay within the 2 hour thing. They'll move their car just a couple of feet to do it. So they will no longer be able to do that if they're tracking that they were actually there, or they'll have to go to a different parking place because it marks through GPS exactly where that car is. And if that car is there in the 2 hours, it's going to tell you to stop and give it a ticket. So where we've been a little lenient where they're rolling us back and forth in the past, which I don't know why they want to do that, but they actually set their watches to go out and move the cars, and it's defeating the whole purpose. That's not what we want to do.
Chief, have you ever thought of, because I'm right there and I know what you're talking about.
You want to help?
Pardon?
Oh, you want to help?
Yeah, right. Monitor cars.
Give me a badge, baby, I'm honored. What about like notifying the businesses downtown? Because the worst offenders are the people that own businesses.
Yeah, and they're the ones that, and not everybody, I don't want to cast a blanket on it, but there are a lot of the ones that will just move it just a tiny bit, just to get that mark where we mark the tire to where it's moved, and then we can. So, but these new applications that they have, that wouldn't work because it would still be in that spot, so it would alert us to sign it. They're kind of expensive. They're anywhere between $27,000 to $42,000 annually because they not only give you the equipment, but then you have to buy it yearly, so it's expensive. It wouldn't be money.
Right. I might add that there's also companies out there that do it for a fee.
Yeah,
they go out and utilize it, and the fines they collect so much, and we get a little bit of revenue. So
we had met, and I don't know, Ambassador something.
Yes.
A couple years right before COVID again, and that was a great. They not only were going to do the parking, but then there were people down. They were kind of stewards for the city. So if people are looking for, they have their little booths set up, and you can go get information. So that would be something we could look into. It might be cheaper than even this.
Well, it would take some of that off your back.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because as you know, our code enforcement officers they're quite busy. So.
That would be something to look at.
Yeah, that might solve two problems.
Yeah. We were supposed to bring that to council a little bit. But we could get that together again and we could bring it to a work session to let you guys have a look at it.
So realistically, in a sense, it may not cost us really anything because they get their cost from.
they're paid through the parking fees and tickets.
And then it's a good public, I think it'd be good for like the tourists and stuff, because they're actually down there, they're visible. You know, they're not law enforcement, but they're dressed where you would know that you can go get information from them, and, you know, whether it's someplace to eat or any other questions, they're there to help.
Do they hire?
They hire, yeah, they hire, they try to get local first, so that'd be some jobs.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Our graffiti, which is always a huge problem, always, I found one, it's called the Ice Storm Graffiti Remover. We actually got that approved, thank you very much. This thing's amazing. They use it in cities like Portland and stuff where they're getting blasted with graffiti. It works with ice or dry ice. So we can utilize Marty's ice here, or we could get another ice machine downtown, but it's extremely good for the environment, and it blasts off the graffiti with the ice particles. So we actually got one coming, it's in production, and I'm anxious to get that up and going. You know, we've had the elephant snot in the past, which works on some stuff, doesn't work on other stuff. We do a lot of paint, and I'll go buy a 5-gallon thing of paint. You all know how much paint costs anymore. You go back, it's right back up there. So this is gonna work really good, especially on the concrete and the surfaces like that, the bricks and where they're doing it. So I'm anxious to get that up and going. And it should be here as well. The last thing on that list was repair that 2nd Street wall. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not. The rocks are falling down, and I'm afraid someone's gonna get hurt up there, and we're gonna have an issue with it. So Bob is looking into getting someone to help me do that. Just get our building a little safer. So those are the things off my list.
A couple of things that I have here is, I had a citizen the other day, I guess now that we have the Boulevard Edition going on, and of course all the stuff, illegal stuff that goes on over there. What are the possibility that a camera could be placed in that area? Is there any possibility?
Well, so I do have the trailer that we're getting up and going.
You thought around, I guess, the bathroom facility mostly?
Yeah, so what this is a portable trailer, and it works with our downtown camera system. So I can move that thing anywhere. We're actually working on a contract with the provider, so he could move it and set it up for me and do whatever application he needs, because it works with Wi-Fi, it works with, like your phone with 5G. It's pretty good. I also have a few hermit cams that we can put in strategic places.
One thing I do know that, I'm not sure what the cost of this thing would be, but I do know that in other cities, they have a camera that could actually monitor and catch people that are speeding. And it catches their license plate where you can actually ticket them. Is that something we've thought about?
So Les, we talked about that in the past, you remember?
I do.
It's kind of tricky with those. It would be up to Les if he would feel comfortable with us producing a ticket like that, but it would again have to come to you for the final approval.
What are the legal aspects to that?
Well, there are always people who argue anything and everything. And I just don't know, like if a still photo of somebody, allegedly violating, if it's just gonna get traction. I mean, I don't really remember what the points for or against were at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while, excuse me, but I think we thought at the time that it wasn't a great idea.
Right.
Yeah.
I am going to come forward with a couple more speed trailers. We have this, and they work. They're a great trailer, even for me. I'll see when you're going down, you see your speed, you automatically lit up on the gas. I had went to the conference here at the end of June, and the speed trailers themselves have come down. The only problem with the speed trailer is on the narrower streets. They're hard to set up. But I'm going to put a couple of those in for our marijuana funds.
Because that's one of the biggest problems that I get confronted with, is the amount of speeding that goes on in a lot of the areas of town. And the last thing I had on there, and I think Mr. Valentine, you mentioned that about a new canine.
Oh, yeah, so, and that brings me to our next page. There was a lot of questions about, how the dogs were doing. This is kind of just a little recap from January to June of this year. We did really well with the dogs and our surveillance. Some of this was dogs, some of this was surveillance. So We've had a very successful year with drugs.
Yeah.
Another punch I get all the time is you're taking the low-hanging fruit. Now, if, I'm not gonna mention names here, but we put them out, go take a look at the list, and those names that you guys are getting the phone calls on, this guy's selling drugs, this selling drugs. We've got all those people, the majority of those people have been arrested this last year over that, so.
This is great. This is a wonderful list.
Yeah.
Friggin' amazing.
It's not much marijuana,
Yeah.
but I
Go
guess that's
figure.
because, because it's
Well,
legal.
and the thing,
Yeah,
the
right.
thing with the marijuana, our dogs don't work with marijuana anymore. They're
Wow.
not certified for marijuana because they can't be. It's legal. It's legal.
Right, right.
So I did lose one of my handlers. He went to another city. We did sell that dog to him. I am going to come forward with another dog. I mean, they've been, for the whole time I've been here, they've been the best thing I've had for fighting drugs.
It's a 540 gram increase.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
That's an amazing number, Chief.
Right.
Amazing.
So, and a lot of it is, like I said, the surveillance, the guys, I mean, because we know. I mean, everybody said, don't you? Yeah, we know. And so they're doing their job. This is not the low-hanging fruit. The caveat I'll throw out here is, let's keep a close look on what they do with the DA with these. Some of it is not all on him. Some of it is a lot because the weights have changed. You can possess a lot more of this with a lesser degree of and that's unfortunate. But these weren't small arrests. These were good arrests. So I'm really pleased, and the canines have been wonderful.
So you say that some of these limitations have been raised to the limits that they have. What caused that?
State legislation. Yeah. They changed it. They changed what you can legally possess and how much you can do and what the offenses are with it.
But it was enough.
Council, I think that would be something maybe we need to go back to our legislators and try to change that again. That would be something that we could talk to.
But Mayor, the political pendulum was such that you didn't want people going to prison for long periods of time for drug offenses, right? I mean, it was on the opposite side for a while, and people were going to prison for a long time for drug offenses, including relatively small amounts. And then the pendulum has swung again. And so they don't want to spend as much on people going to prison, they want to spend more on rehabilitation facilities. I'm not saying it's the right answer, I'm just saying that is where it's gone, and they've
The
changed
reason
the
why I
law.
bring that up is, like I say, the pendulum swings back and forth, but I think at some point there's gotta be a medium that it can rest on, and I think that's what our legislators, they need to understand what that medium could possibly be from our perspective.
Well, and what they don't consider is the addiction brings so many more problems to us. I mean, those people that are trying to support their addiction are out stealing.
Yeah.
You know, they're out.
Right.
They're causing problems. We have more fights. I mean, it's just a gamut of problems that it brings. I mean, the drugs, yes, are one thing, and the addiction is horrible, but to feed those addictions and stuff is what
That's right.
they don't look at when they're making those. Because I understand you don't want to lock someone up for the rest of their lives because of the drugs, but it just brings so many more problems to the community. That's the bigger picture.
Right.
Look at the amount of meth that's, you guys have done with the seizures this year, I mean, that's.
Yeah. Well, meth is cheaper than the other, and they can make it, so that's why you see.
And I just want to say too, that the DA's office is very responsible for a lot of this, but there's also judicial responsibility.
Right.
Right? I mean.
So I am keeping track of what's gonna happen with these. These are not the low-hanging fruit, so, and they know that. So they'll be able to, I hope they take that into consideration when they're handing down whatever justice.
So between you and Les, have you guys maybe talked with the DA on some of these? I'm not just overall.
I know I have.
To say what.
You know, they'll call me all the time and ask my opinion on, they're gonna get this plea, and that's where a lot of it goes. I mean, unfortunately, it goes to, and I fight, I try to get the best we can, but ultimately it's their decision. They'll take your input. I have had numerous conversations, not with just drugs, but other things as well.
So what is a lot of times the reason we
Conviction rates, and that's a shame when you get a district attorney who'll plea bargain stuff out to keep a high conviction rate, period. And I think it's crap that they do that.
Well, I mean, our bank robber that hit us for 7 or not all bank robbers, but robberies. I mean, he got a sweetheart deal. I mean, but it kind of is what it is. The bond, I wasn't happy with that. I mean, but
Right.
you know, again, that's not me. I could just present the best case I can. Hope it's good enough to get the very best that we can get out of it, and that's the best we can do.
Well, I think what we need to do as a council, I think we need to ask the DA to come to a work session or a council meeting and kind of grill his butt over this and see what the heck you doing to us. You know, we got a police department that's doing their job. We got a DA that is, I'm not.
You guys, I just don't think that's a good idea. I mean, and I don't mean to like stick up for one of my own, but every case is a calculus, right? And they take everything they can into consideration, and they come up with, I think, what they believe to be the best, the best plea negotiations, the best disposition they can for every case. And Solano, I don't mean to mention people by name, but Henry Solano is a lot better than what we have had. And he now has more money for more lawyers and more support staff. He's doing more, and I wear a totally different hat when I'm not the city attorney. So I want to kind of acknowledge that bias, and also as a former public defender for 18 years. But I think they do the best they can, and I just, and you can invite him and say, now that he knows it, you want to call him in front of you and rake his butt over the coals, or however you just phrased it. He might say, no thanks, no thanks. It's been a long time since I got that $50,000 for the city.
Well, but in that same breath, he may be able to come in and share his side of what has to happen. I mean, because when we talk about it, and Henry has done a great job. I mean, I'm not throwing. A lot of it has to do with what he's got to do as well. So I'm not throwing rocks at the DA's office. Please don't take that as that's not what we're trying to do. But he's a very good talker, and he could come and explain how and why sometimes that happens.
Well, the big thing is we as council people, we're the ones that citizens come to us and say, this is happening, why is it happening, why are these people getting let off so cheap, why are they not getting convicted? These are things that we as council get hit with all the time.
And Mayor, you're right.
We have to have an answer for them somehow.
But the only ones that you have jurisdiction over, any authority over, is the police department, right? I mean, everything else is out of your hands. Everything else is a state agency.
We've got
That didn't make our phone. Yeah, that don't make our phone.
I know. But you could say, hey, man, call the DA's office, call judicial.
Then you're a city council person who's like shirking your responsibility. Sure.
Yeah, right.
You're like everybody else I call someone else.
I know, but it's like if you get a call about, the recent presidential assassination in Haiti. It's like it's out of my wheelhouse, right? But it's not something you deal with. It's like international affairs, state affairs. It's just, there's nothing you can really do about that other than the police department.
Chief, fentanyl, 15 grams of fentanyl. How many people?
That's a lot.
15 grams of fentanyl.
Fentanyl's, I mean, I am afraid to handle fentanyl.
100 times more powerful than
That's enough to kill probably 10,000 people.
15 grams?
15 grams.
We even caution our officers in handling it because it's extremely dangerous.
Well,
and what's bad about fentanyl is they're cutting it too. So they'll get it, and at one time they'll get a way watered down version of it. Another time they'll get it, and it's a lot more potent, and that's when we have those issues. That's what the problem with a lot of these drugs is. It's inconsistent. You have no idea what you're putting in your body.
Well, that brings me to my second question. It's along the same line, because I've noticed, we're a small community. We know what happens when these young people die, and pretty much that it was a drug overdose. And it's almost always, I would imagine, fentanyl is involved in that.
Fentanyl is a lot more. It's a lot more available than it used to be.
It seems like the ODs in this community are getting really bad. So my question is, without mentioning names, but any of these people that you've caught with these drugs are responsible for some of those?
So
I know it'd be
we've
hard
actually
to-
put together a case where we proved that the drug was bought from a certain dealer, and we put together a case on them and charged them for it. So that has happened, yes.
Okay.
That's what my son-in-law OD'd on, you know, and it was terrible when he died. To be with my grandchildren at his funeral at 10, 11, and 12 years old. That was fentanyl straight up, what he OD'd on.
Yeah, it's strangers.
I have one
This-
more.
this-
This really sounds trivial compared to fentanyl and overdoses and everything else that we discussed. But all of us got an email from a gentleman concerned about the fireworks.
Mhm.
He was really upset. Did you have an extra?
We had extra people out, we were slammed. We were slammed.
Was
We-
it worse this year?
Yeah, and I think it was because people were just, yeah.
It came out of COVID. and-
Right.
Guns
Next year, we'll have
blazing.
to take a look.
Yeah.
Fireworks blazing.
That's right.
I've got like a 180-degree view from my house
Uh,
of all of town. You could see all the fireworks here, 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 here. They were all over town. So there was no way that you guys could.
I know we were slammed.
No way.
We were slammed, plus the ordinary calls, so we were slammed. And I did have extra people out. But
Chief, a quick question, are you considering now that COVID's over, and do you have the staff to bring back the Citizens Academy?
I
Is it something you're
absolutely,
planning on doing?
yes, I want to do that again. And that has probably been one of the most successful public relation things we've done. I think it's really eye-opening, and I would encourage those that haven't been there to do it. And you don't have to attend at all, but I would strongly advise to sit in a few of those sessions, and you'll walk away with a whole lot better.
Yes, you will.
And with saying that, those ride-alongs, please come out and do some ride-alongs. I mean, I could sit here all day long and try to tell you what my guys are up against, but get out of the car one night and see. I mean, because it's amazing. We are fortunate. I think we have some very good officers. I think they, for the most part, do a very good job. Come out, get in the car with them. Go on a ride along. Do it on a Saturday night or a Friday night, and see what we're responding to.
You said you had a video for us?
Yeah, it's on the last page. Just real quick, there's our chain of command and our officers. I got 4 going into the academy. Good news there is they're going to be in La Junta. I got a heck of a rate from them. It's pretty much buy one get one free kind of thing. And I did also get a grant. Mike, did I tell you? We did get so we're going to be able to put one through on a grant as well. So I've got those 4 going in here in August. That's the next academy. And then I actually have one resign Friday. So I need to talk to you about, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So, but I do have someone to fill that. Maybe we could put a 5th one here, because I mean, it's important to get them in quick, because it's 21 weeks, and then it's 21 weeks in FTO. So she said you have to hit control and.
I think
my computer just turned off, so I gotta boot it up again.
So code enforcement, I know that
So
you had resigned. Have you had any hits?
No, we just posted it. I don't know what happened, but somewhere miscommunication between Donna and myself. It just got posted.
Hmm.
So, but I do have one of our cadets. He's helping me do it now.
Yeah.
That was her idea as well, which turned out to be a great idea.
So is it one of the newer?
One of the new cadets, yeah, which is it's
Tony Army retired?
No, one of them resigned. One of our, but he's helping me, and it's good for him too, because now he gets the start of, he gets to come in, start seeing the paperwork, see what computer system we use, and so it's beneficial for him as well. Got 2 females and 2 males going, so.
Good.
While he's getting that going, this one I'm excited to share with you. I went to the Chiefs Academy, our Chiefs conference here the last part of June, and they had a theme called Crime Watch Technologies. I shared the information with you on the back here. There's a little YouTube video I can share with you until he gets that up and going though. Yeah, basically, as you know, we've encrypted our radios. I'm sure you've gotten some background on that.
I want to know what you're doing.
You know, it's for the public and it's for officer safety. A lot of times, we get calls and we get people going, show up to those calls and get information, inaccurate, oftentimes information released far too quick. So, that's why we went to encryption. And it's worked out well.
If there was some legislation that would offset some of that, what happened?
As long as we have an open channel, and we still have an open channel, we're in compliance.
Okay.
So,
That concerned me.
right. So, and it wasn't very costly to do. It's just a matter of programming for the current radios we have. The reason it hadn't happened before is because I didn't have the newer radios that could do it. And to do it, to have everybody, I'm finally at a point now where I was able to get that. But the rock that gets thrown at me there is, well, you're not transparent. Well, this is going to make us extremely transparent. And you all could be ambassadors of this. If you want this on your phones, your computers, whatever, you can get the live stuff as we're putting it out in a dinky if you want that. I don't know if you want that or not.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you guys the option to be on that. Also, as part of the package deal, they're going to give us a large screen TV that we're going to post in Walmart. So if you get an arrest, bam, it's going to be right up there on the arrest what they were charged for, who was picked up for shoplifting, whatever.
Shaming. Stay off the wall, Lord Big Four.
But the core features are on that second page. Some of the cool things, all this, I won't read these all the way down, is tip submission. We have several ways to get tips, but I still don't think we get enough tips. I think people are reluctant. So this would be another way they can do it. It's going to have the social media integration, so that way, once we're putting it out, it's going to be out there quickly. Crime mapping, so a lot of times, they're going, people are saying, well, where are all the breakers? But it's going to show on a pin map of everything that we got, where it's going on, which will be helpful. In my year-end report. Your camera registry, what that will do is if people have cameras and they want to register them with the police department, not that we're going to be watching them, but it'll tell us if we have a crime in that area, we can go check this house, we can check this house. It's going to help with my follow-up stuff. They'll be able to do online reporting. I know a lot of, especially the younger people, they can get their report out there to us real quick. If it requires an officer, we'll assign an officer to it. If not, sometimes it's just for insurance purposes. It'll work quickly for the insurances. But as you can see, there's a lot of things on here. I'm going to put my warrants are going to be there with the picture and what they're wanted for. So that will help if people see it. So it's going to be a very valuable tool. It's all cloud-based. It's got redundancy, and it's compliant. CJIS compliant.
There's no legal aspects to this, Les, that you can think of?
No, you kind of waive your right to privacy when you.
Commit a crime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But so we're gonna put one in Walmart because I figure that's where most people go. It'd be right as you're walking in the store, and then I'd like to get one in Safeway and.
God, I hope I don't get in trouble. My booking photo's gonna look like hell. I'm gonna be like,
we'll give you a retake.
Thank you. Thank you.
Makeup artist.
That's right. Like Gary Busey.
So the most exciting thing is I hope to have this all going by tonight.
All right. I'm England. Sorry.
So is it an app then?
Yeah, you'll get an app. You can get off your computer.
Would you like to discuss your slideshow that's going on?
I don't know why it's not going on.
Well, I paused it. The sound seems to be coming off my computer, which is not very loud.
Oh, wow.
You need a speaker?
Perhaps, yeah. If there's a speaker there, might be a little bit better. I'm not sure if I can fix.
It is.
Yeah, my technique's out.
The new planner has mad IT skills, people.
Well,
we're going to need him at all council meetings.
Sure. Do all of your body cams have up to 10-hour recording capacity,
Yes.
32 gigabytes?
Yep. They're
So like a 8-hour shift for a police officer?
They'll go for 10 hours.
10 hours.
Yeah, we do 12 hours.
And you have 32 gigabyte feature.
Yeah, well, it's It's cloud-based.
Oh, this one.
Okay.
So as soon as it hits,
Oh, okay.
it goes up.
During times of crisis, community policing needs a strategic, technology-driven plan that goes beyond social media. Crime Watch is an extension of your department's physical operations in the digital space. Connect directly with citizens and media across multiple platforms and in many languages. Share information with confidence and purpose. Gather insight from the community that helps you deploy resources strategically. And now, better than ever, with RMS integration. Based on department-specific rules, pull your operational data real-time into an advanced mapping and analysis system. Understand and visualize your data with views for officers and for the public. Easily create activity bloggers and promote major events to your department Crime Watch portal. Mitigate and automate low-priority contact functions with online reporting, tip track, tip submission, camera registry. Use the Crime Watch mobile app as your department's mobile presence. Give your officers tools on the go to quickly alert citizens and the media with emergency broadcasts. Have your department Crime Watch everywhere that people congregate with CWTV. Know how many people you are engaging online, who those engagements are with, and start generating higher quality intelligence. Crime Watch is for teams working 24/7 with approval controls and multiple location deployments. With unlimited users, unlimited access, free technology support, and all secure cloud-based. Crime Watch is your one-stop shop for public engagement and community policing during times of crisis and beyond. To learn more, schedule a demo, or launch your free Crime Watch online reporting system, visit crimewatch.net/online.
So it's gonna be a valuable tool, and I'm excited to get it up and going. Good.
I see if they use social media.
So it'll push to. We have a couple of social media accounts, so it could populate those as well. But this is a lot more better than the social media.
Oh, you know, this morning, so far, we've listened to what I look at as the two most important categories of our community, and that is the safety for our community, and that is our fire department and the police department. And from what I'm seeing, both departments seem to kind of have it together.
Like their ducks in.
Yeah, you guys are working hard to try to make changes, and they're looking forward to the safety of our community.
Thank you. I think another good thing about this is a lot of time people, they're gonna be able to use this, they're gonna be able to feel as part of the solution instead of part of the problem. So when they're seeing stuff and they can accurately report it, and a lot of times people wanna just be anonymous, so.
Well, you know what, too? It'll avoid all the gossip, all the half-truths and no truths.
And that was part of the problem, and I don't want to go down that road, but anyway, it's gonna be very valuable. And where I'm getting hit, well, you're not transparent, this is gonna be about as transparent as I can get.
People will create new gossip, you know?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
There's some people that can't live with that. We've had a lot of somewhat premature reporting from all things 81082 about the issues with that.
This is going to, Mr. DeBono, this is gonna help me with getting inaccurate information out there, whether it's AFINs or whether it's just people on social media putting half the truths. Because that's what happens a lot of times, is someone will get a story, get half the truth, and by the time we're said and done with it, it's completely wrong. So this is gonna be accurate information,
Sensational.
whether it's that certain site or any other site out there that is putting in inaccurate information. So this is going to defeat that.
Charlie, as a side note, Charlie has 2 people training to be public information officers.
Right.
To get the correct information.
I mean, the problem with me doing that is I'm out there, when the call comes in and we're out there, I'm out there working the call as well. I don't have the luxury of the bigger departments where I can just sit back and get stuff into me and then write out. I can't do it. I just don't have the time to do it because I'm actively on the call as well. So I'm gonna have 2 people, they're going to be officially trained in September. It's an online class. Then there's gonna be another class that they're going to go to, and I'll have 2 that are gonna get this information out quickly
So
and are properly trained to do it.
these 2 people, will they be able to monitor when this stuff is happening through body camera so that they can have, because a lot of times people, like 8102, they immediately want to know answers, or any other media that, or people that want to know what's happening. Will they be able to
So I
to make sure that they give?
will alert them. I will alert them when I need them, when I need them to come out. But even with this, our normal police spotter is gonna be out there quickly, and it's gonna be very transparent. Okay? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
What about the raccoons?
The mass madness.
Well,
You can't get away with
they
that.
walk down
We
the
have traveled quite a few raccoons, yeah.
There were 6 of them on the library step the other night.
Yeah, I watched the
Well, you
cameras
watched
and they
them,
were
yeah.
all walking down the road like they were on a field trip. It was like a whole family.
Look at the guy in the black Mustang going up Colorado, Kansas.
A black Mustang?
I'm telling you, he does
Every
this all the time. And he makes all the noise.
Is it black or dark blue?
It's a black Mustang, newer one. I mean, he really is ridiculous.
He does it on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll post some
It's
guys.
Aaron.
Chief.
She's got a black nose.
People, let's go and take a break.
Wait, guys, one second. Okay, since this is a work session or retreat, I just have to address the chief real quick if I could.
Sure.
And I told Mike this, Chief, I haven't had a chance to tell you this yet, but I upgraded my system on channel 71, so we're on 24/7. And right now, I'm just showing the NASA channel because I've got to get programming going on. But one of the things that I included in this, and I told Audra and maybe Mike about this last year, but we have the ability now, I will give you the password, you can put alerts on there at any time. Child goes missing, an adult walks off that's lost or whatever. I'm just in the process, and that's like what I'm doing here off to the side. I'm learning how to do this. It's like flying a plane. And so I've got several chapters, but within a couple of weeks I'll get with you. And it'll be up to you guys to put on there whatever you want.
Awesome. You can actually broadcast this Crime Watch. You can keep it up on your thing.
We'll feed it in there.
I'll have it holding.
But the alerts it was an add-on, and it cost the city nothing. It's what you're already paying me for.
Awesome.
I just upgraded my system.
Yeah, this does alerts too, so we're able to put out.
How soon can we download that app?
It's supposed to be up and going today.
Today?
So I'll
I can go to the Google Play Store then?
I'll get it to you guys as soon as, I'll let Mike know as soon as we're up and go, but she's supposed to have it up and going today.
All right.
Okay?
Let's go.